Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ketchup Court. I go by the name of Heinz, your friendly neighborhood ketchup man, and we're back for another video. All we do on this channel is give you trial recaps as well as trial discussions, and we have been recapping the Christopher Wolfenbarger case. It was my first ever case watching in the county, or in Fulton County is what I meant to say. I was not really prepared for what I saw. In fact, there were so many things that happened in the trial, and listening to many people's opinions in regarding to the case, I had to get one of those voices that was speaking about this case on Twitter. He goes by the name of attorney Jim Robichaud. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, Jim Robichaud. Okay, so I am pronouncing that. Okay, Jim Robichaud. He joins me today. Thank you so much, Jim, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you're well.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this case. Like, is this how things normally happen in Fulton County? Because from day one, I have been stupidly critical about the prosecution. In fact, I was pretty shocked by how the case even started off in opening statements, because we didn't even have a theory that there was a cover-up, that there was a murder even. So talk to me. What did you make of this case?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't shocked by anything that the state did. It's obviously it's a unique set of facts. Every case is a unique set of facts, so it had its own little flavor. But I wasn't, blown away by anything that was done. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't remember what first brought the case to my attention, but I started reading it. It was probably because it was a Fulton County case. I knew it was going to be something like this, and so that's why I started reading about it. But just the first night of reading through the motions, you could tell that the state didn't have a theory. They were contradicting themselves, even like a week apart. Like, particularly with the saw. The saw was the first thing that jumped out to me, because they couldn't decide in their own motions whether it was like stolen or borrowed, and then they couldn't decide whether it was the murder weapon or not. And I couldn't even get to the place where I understood what they were trying to say, because usually that's the first step. You just understand what the state's theory is, and then you go from there. But I never even got like through step one to get to like what is the defense saying? It was just trying to understand what they were saying happened. And it seemed clear to me that they didn't have any idea what they thought the case was, which is a bad sign. I mean, there have been other cases that are bad, but they usually at least have like even if the theory is dumb. You know what I mean? Like, like in YSL, the theory was.
I think you're frozen. Hold on.
Theory, It was a dumb theory in many instances, but at least I knew what they were trying to say. In this case, it was like, I don't even know where this is coming from. And then also there's the media aspect, where it felt very media driven, and there were things coming out in the media, widely reported in the media, that just didn't seem to be true, or that I couldn't confirm, and I didn't really understand where those things were coming from.
I saw that article. Are you referring to the independent article that was written in preparation for the case?
That was like the most prominent one recently, but there are a few others. It was just the main thing was just this whole like, oh, there's been this big break in the case. And I'm like, what is the big break? I just don't understand. I was looking through like the list of discovery, and I just didn't see anything recent. There was some stuff recently like you normally expect, like there's a cell phone extraction from recently, and there's some jail calls that have been reported, but that would have been after the big break, because that was after the arrest. So it was just confusing. I didn't even know what they had, or if they had anything, or if it was just kind of fibbing and hoping that something would come. I just noticed you had a ketchup bottle in the background. Sorry, I just got distracted by that. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, the ketchup signal. That's the ketchup signal.
Okay.
Whenever you need to catch up on a case, Ketchup Man is here to help you.
Yeah. But yeah, the Fulton County thing, There's one thing that I haven't really talked about too much was the jail, the Fulton County jail. And that's really the engine that kind of drives all the Fulton County nonsense, because it's the worst place. What would you call it? The worst place in the world in the YSL trial. And he's not far off. It's one of the most violent jails in the country.
Oh, wow.
Like more so than New York City. Worse than like Miami, like far worse than Miami-Dade. There've been a bunch of killings there. The doors don't lock. There aren't even enough cells for everybody, so there'll just be people like sleeping out on cots in the middle of the jail. And oftentimes they'd get people in there and they will just hold them until they eventually plead guilty.
Oh,
so
wow.
I thought that might have been part of the approach to Wolfenbarger, is just get him in there and eventually either he'll say something or he'll plead guilty to something. So that was another thing. Particularly the Fawcett. I know he's done that before. There's a kid, a 19-year-old kid, and there was this case with like literally no evidence, and he held him in there for 4 years. And there's a murder case. There's a murder and 3 shootings. And he held him there for 4 years, and eventually he pled guilty to like involuntary manslaughter, and he got 10 years for a killing and 3 shootings with credit for time served. So he'd be out in like a year and a half from when he pled guilty. And it was also a first offender, so he wouldn't even be on his record. So it's like, you're doing all that for this guy that you're saying committed murder. I mean, come on. You clearly don't think he did it, if that's what you're looking at.
Okay, so I guess is that why Nicholas, because that just, what you said in regards to the jail just caused my mind back to Nicholas Casoda's trial. Is that why Doug Weinstein was highlighting the jail conditions? I mean, it was sustained. The objection was sustained, but is that why he was kind of highlighting it there to like
that was a different county, so
I
don't know exactly, but it probably was. I mean, it's not uncommon to get people to confess after time in jail.
Okay. Is Fulton County the same county that YNW Melly is in? Because I know that he's been in jail for quite, I think 2000.
No, that's Florida, actually.
That's Florida. Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole.
Look,
there's actually there's YSL is Fulton County. The YNW is Miami-Dade, which is not a good jail either. But
okay.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. He's going to be there for like 7 years, I think. I think it was 2019. I think. Yeah, I think it'll be like 7 years, assuming that he doesn't get another mistrial.
Okay. Yeah. So, everyone that's in the chat, if you have any questions, definitely let me definitely write them in the chat, and I will pass it on to attorney Jim Robichaud. Sorry, I've got a bad stutter, so sometimes it comes, sometimes it goes, but yeah. So do forgive me, but I didn't do a proper job in introducing you. Like you are in civil, you were in civil litigation. Now you're moving over to criminal. How is that?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I didn't mind civil, but I was kind of following the YSL trial. There was one defendant in particular, and I noticed there were some mistakes. We'll call them mistakes in his case. And so I started following that, and eventually, I don't know, I kept writing about it, and eventually I got in touch with his family and ended up representing him in his appeal, which we actually have something coming this week on that case. But that kind of just led to other stuff, other cases that kind of caught my attention. And it's kind of been kind of a hybrid of almost like media, writing about cases that I'm not involved in versus, and also working on a handful of cases. But yeah, I'm looking to start doing kind of a combination of those two things, doing like YouTube and media coverage of cases to catch my, because I can't do every case. I can't work on every case, and there are so many.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you want to support Jim's work on here, check out the description. All his details are there, because he does a great job finding the court documents relevant for cases. Trust me, like if you like transparency and you want to see what goes on behind the scenes, this is definitely the guy to do it. You do rants on your YouTube channel as well. Your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna get myself in trouble one of these days.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get myself in trouble one of these days.
No, keep on going. I've seen you show Fulton County spelling mistakes, even wrong charging documents. I think you need to keep doing that. Like if you get in trouble for that, I'll be very concerned about governmental overreach. That
Yeah,
something like that. So, but anyway, I've heard a lot of professionals and laymen like myself alike say that this case should not have gone into trial, and I was even wondering in one of my catch-ups how this case actually made it into trial. I want to ask: is the bar really this low for the prosecution in bringing cases? Because I was thinking, I don't know how it works behind the scenes. Like if there is usually a motion to dismiss, I know that there is for civil cases. Like you usually have that, but criminal cases, is there usually like something like that before it goes behind before the jury and then you make your summary judgment? Does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, there's the grand jury, the indictment phase, where basically the state just shows that it has, I think it's probable cause, the standard to bring the case, and it's just such a low bar because you can make anybody look guilty if they don't get to like make a defense for themselves. Yeah, exactly. It's rare for a case not to be indicted if the prosecutor wants to bring it. But really, I mean, it's up to the prosecutor to exercise good judgment and bring cases that are sound. And not just, even if you think the person's guilty, that's one thing. Obviously, you should think they're guilty, but also that you have a chance of winning the case. And winning the case, in a clean way. And I have no idea what they thought was going to happen. I don't, like what, when they were like visualizing the case in advance, I don't know what they thought this was going to look like. You have to have a story to tell, and that's true for civil or criminal law. You have to have a story to tell. That's really what it's about, is storytelling. And I don't know I really don't know what they thought. I don't know what they thought happened aside from, we killed her. I'm sure I know they thought that, but like, and it's okay if you have like one or two questions you can't answer. Like if you don't know what the murder weapon is, okay, fine.
Yeah.
If you don't know exactly when it happened, like, okay, fine. But at some point, you have to have some answers for the jury.
Right. So I mean, looking at the facts of this case, and how it played out, just do you think? I mean, imagine yourself as a prosecutor, and you have these facts, and you have the reports that was written back then, and all of this coming together. Do you think that there could have been a realm that a guilty verdict could have been rendered in this particular case?
Yeah, I mean, people. Reminds me of you tweeted something in the Karen Reed case. Do you remember what I'm talking about? The one about like how there's supposed to be a presumption of innocence, but there's really not. Like people generally trust the prosecutor.
Yeah,
and people are like yelling at you, like you have no idea what you're talking about. You're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if you remember that.
I think I said forget the law. Like everyone is guilty until proven innocent or something.
Yeah.
I was ranting a lot in that case, so I said a lot.
Yeah, there's some real truth to that. I mean, people do believe like, oh, if you've gotten this far, you must be guilty.
Right.
Okay, I forgot what I was talking about. Was there any world in which she was found guilty? Is that what the question was?
Yeah. So, could the prosecution have gotten like a guilty verdict for this particular case? Like, was that actually in a realm of possibility?
I don't see how. Just because, I mean, you can have a weak case, but you have to have a case, right? Like, you can have a story to tell that's not well supported, but if it's like a believable story, or if it kind of makes sense, then maybe. But you weren't even giving the jury like anything to work with. So even if they were sympathetic, even if they didn't like Chris, what did he do? And what was the timeline? Even if you don't know the exact dates, you need to know like the order, the sequence that things happened in. And I think that was the problem with this case is like, you don't have to know to the day when things happen, but I mean, it's particularly because they started with the saw, right? The saw was like their day 1 or day 2 thing.
Mm.
And then they never explained how that could possibly have fit in or how that did fit into the whole story.
Okay.
So I don't
So
know. I think this is a really bad case because in other cases where you have little evidence, you at least have like a theory, and it kind
right.
of like feels right. But there wasn't even like a theory in this case. That's what was so mind-boggling to me.
The yeah, because it's interesting that you mentioned the theory here, and then you brought up the Karen Reed case. At least over there, I mean, the evidence was equally as small, but at least
Yeah,
they had some kind of working theory that is likely that
yeah,
that she could have drove, and it's just. But this one, I do have to agree. Like I do have to agree because when I was watching all of this, I was looking at the uphill bow that they already have. Like it was 25 years ago. Memories are going to be a massive hindrance for them.
yeah,
Then, if there was any potential mistake, that's gonna look way worse on them. Like during the whole investigation. So I was thinking, okay, but they should have something like stinging to him, like, and I thought they probably had some kind of DNA evidence, or they probably had the saw, like there was a way to actually show that the saw did this, but again,
yeah.
like they didn't. So, like, let's say that you were the prosecutor for this case. How would you have? How would you have? Would you have wanted to like?
No,
Let me
I mean,
let
I
me
don't
ask you
even.
like this. Let me ask you
Okay,
like this. If you were a prosecutor, like an assistant DA, and this case falls into your lap, do you really have any choice to say yes or no? Like, do you just have to roll with the punches? Like, who actually greenlets cases like this?
I mean, ethically, you can't bring a case you don't believe in, and that's true irrespective of your job. I mean, that's just like a lawyer's job to say no to. That kind of gets at the point, though. Is like they didn't even. This wasn't like their case. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like they could have just said, "Hey, this case is from 25 years ago. The evidence is gone. We can't do an investigation. We'd love to help the family, but there, evidence has been lost to the passage of time. You don't
mm.
have to prosecute. It's particularly this case. It's not like it happened last month and you just failed. Like you you reached way back to find this case and then you messed it up. Like I
I,
don't I don't know what the motivation. I mean, I have just my suspicions, but
oh, I
yeah,
have my suspicions as well, because I was thinking, like, how often is it that cases will be prosecuted just because there is pressure from the family to prosecute the case? Does that actually happen often? Like,
yeah. I mean, it can, and if you have like a weak case, sometimes that'll make the difference, but not this much of a difference. Where and that was multiple DAs ago too. There's Paul Howard was the one before Fani, and I can't remember the one before that, but there's multiple district attorneys ago. There were multiple DAs that didn't prosecute the case. I'm guessing that the DA wanted the story to make herself okay. So once she got elected, she was kind of like a rising political star, and I suspect that she wanted a few cold cases to take the step to run for governor. That seems to be the most common explanation.
oh,
Um, and I think that's true, like the YSL case and a few other high-profile cases, um, where I guess that's kind of the common theme of the YSL case was there were just charges brought that she just had no hope of winning, and it was just like innuendo.
mhm.
And we can get the YSL case as a whole, it's a separate story, but
I didn't follow it, so
yeah,
you know it way more than I
yeah,
do.
it's just self-inflicted wounds. Like there's no reason to bring these cases. And I saw somebody ask how much this case costs to bring,
Mm.
and I don't know exactly, but I know that they brought like at least like probably 50 grand in DNA testing plus, and that's just the DNA testing plus all the man hours to go back and reinvestigate all that stuff. Well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars just to bring this case.
Yeah, like it's my first time. Like I said in the intro, like it's my first time covering a case in Fulton County, and I never saw, like I have heard of the YSL trial. I I I only know about it only because what Judge Glanville did went viral, and
Yeah,
it appeared on my timeline. Like people were saying that no judge should be having a secret meeting. I think Brian Steele was locked up with young
yeah.
fucking. So I can't remember the details, but
No,
that's
that's
how
pretty
I
much
heard
it.
about it. Like, so what actually is going on in that county? Like, is this how Georgia does things, or is this just this specific county?
Yeah, I mean, it's just this county. I mean, there's another county or two that I have my questions about. Um,
Such as?
that would be Glynn County. It's on the coast of. Hold on, let me make sure I have that right. It's actually funny. There's some there's somebody from who's in prison from that county who DM'd me on Twitter, and he's like, "Hey, can you look at this case?" And the question was like this really obscure, like evidentiary question in his case, and like it was. I started reading about his case, and the thing he brought up was like the eighth worst thing about the case. Somebody actually confessed to his crime, but he was still convicted of it. That's a Glenn County case that I've been looking at. Um, the jur- the judge. So let me see. There was deliberation on a Friday, and the jury wanted to read like the transcript from two of the witnesses, and the judge said no. It's a Friday afternoon. I'm not going to let them do that. I don't want to do that. And he ended up getting convicted
Oh
for murder.
wow!
Got a life sentence after all that.
Surely that's gonna be appealable. Surely you can appeal that.
No, I mean, it was, but they said it wasn't. It wasn't relevant. And then also the fact that, so the fact that the guy, somebody else confessed to the crime, that
Mm.
wasn't actually turned over in discovery. So the detectives didn't tell the defense that, and the Supreme Court said that it wasn't a Brady violation for not turning over the fact that somebody confessed to the crime, which is like the most Brady to ever Brady. I have no
How
idea how that's not Brady. Um, but yeah, he's actually like a year younger than I am, which is upsetting. But yeah, so that one kind of came out of nowhere. But that's Glenn County, which is I think Brunswick, Georgia, is the main place. It's a rough place.
I'm
It's
the UK, so I'm in the UK. So I only know
I
about
mean,
London gangs and all of that. That's
yeah,
about
I mean,
it.
I'm like as far away as you are, so
Oh, where are you based?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's kind of funny actually how that happened. Um, yeah, I was just watching the YSL trial at work when I should have been doing work, and then I kept doing less work and watching more of that.
fair enough.
Yeah, Fulton County. I think a lot of the problems is training, and like they're all taught to do things this way, to take these shortcuts. The funny thing is, the Keith Adams, who's one of Young Thug's two lawyers, is Brian Steele and Keith Adams. He was a prosecutor, and he was super critical of the prosecution just because they take all these shortcuts and they try to get around like hearsay rules and evidentiary rules, and it's all about like just make a case. It doesn't have to be complicated. You know what I mean? Like the Wolfenbarger case didn't have to be complicated. I mean, it was complicated 25 years ago, but it's not really that complicated now, right? Like you just don't know what happened. It was 25 years ago. Um, you can't make a case, even though I'm sure you'd like to. And it's reasonable to look at Chris. I mean, that's a reasonable suspect to like look
Yeah,
at,
yeah. The
but
family
you
member
can't
is
prove it.
usually the family member is usually the first suspect.
Yeah,
And to be
yeah,
quite fair, Chris looks like it does actually. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I personally don't like to judge a person by the appearance, but he does give you
yeah,
serial killer vibes as well. I'm surprised
yeah.
they didn't win on that. Just alone, just the look. Sorry, continue.
I like his. I liked him without the haircut. I'd be honest. I like him pre-haircut. With the haircut, I thought he looked like so much more serious. But with pre day one, I thought he looked good. You should reconsider. You should reconsider his haircut. I really liked it the first day. But
Oh yeah, the judge even gave a compliment on that. And it's like, hey, Chris, you got a new haircut.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think she was unthrilled with this date. I think that was a major mistake by the prosecutors to not get him his haircut, because judges don't ask for stuff. They're not asking you to get him a haircut. That's not what she said.
right.
There's an order, and
Yeah.
for you to say, oh, they didn't have any trimmers. I mean, come on, go to Walmart, get some trimmers. It's a murder trial. Take it seriously.
Right. Mhm.
I'm sure they didn't have clippers at that jail. I again, I mean, I mentioned this at the start, but that jail is there's actually a Department of Justice report that came out, like a federal Department of Justice report that came out the same week that he arrived, that he was arrested, that he went to jail, and it's like 100, I think it's like 126 pages long, full of civil rights violations. It's so I'm sure that I do believe that they didn't have hair trimmers, but come on, it's day one. The judge tells you to do something, like do it, or
Yeah.
like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
That gets back to the training thing, you know.
Yeah, and like I never expected to see so many prosecutorial misconduct in this case, if you can call it that, because I was on from day one. We had a Brady violation argument when Detective Kelly went on the stand and said that he was missing evidence, and
Yeah,
then and then the defense were like, who told what? How comes we don't know about this fact? Like, and it just things like that happening just made this prosecution look really incompetent. Not only that, they also have, I think it was on the same day, the medical examiner, well, not the medical examiner, but the missing persons Tina Miller, the person that was tasked to go out and try to identify the body. I believe there were text messages of material still being sent to the defense, and they had to call for a break. Like,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
like
I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was something on like each of the first 3 days. I think I definitely remember the first one, like you said, the reports. That was the big
yeah,
one, and that's in front of the jury too. Like,
yeah, like the judge, all she did was say strike the camera, but the strike the testimony in regards to the VHS, that's not necessary. But can you, when the jury are looking at that, can they really
yeah,
hear all of that and be like, you know what, these guys like these
yeah,
guys may have been missing evidence, but we can
yeah. I
still
think,
think so we continue.
yeah, I think that might have been why the jury or why the judge was ruled the way she did. Is judges know how the case is going, and I mean, if all you can really rely on is the reports from back then, and then on day one you establish that you can't trust the reports. Like, I mean, you didn't have a case to begin with, but even if you did, like, your case is, you're going to lose. I mean, the if your records from back then aren't trustworthy, you don't really have anything. And then you have Calhoun, who's going to come in and act like a lunatic. I thought he was going to be cool for like the first 5 minutes, and then he just went mask off. You're like,
yeah, I actually thought he was probably going to be the most reliable witness, because he did appear very stoic and very structured, professional, and then from nowhere the examination came, and he was just biting back. I did not see that coming. But yeah, like speaking of the legal teams, because I've been on the prosecution quite a bit, like, and I'm gonna go back on them. Like, I have so many things that I want to highlight that from what they show. But the defense, like, what did you make of them? Because we have to admit they did have some bad facts against them. You have the temporary protective order that was taken out. You have the instances of domestic violence as well, and you also have the battery case on the 15th of march that she was 1999 that she was supposed to go to. You have those three bad facts that it could persuade a jury. So what did you make of their defense?
Yeah, I mean, for the first one, the March 15th, that one I never bought. That was a misdemeanor case. Like who commits a murder to cover up a misdemeanor? That one I never bought. The protective order, again, that was another timing question, right? Because so there was July 21st was the incident, and then the 22nd was the trial, and the 29th, or the request for their order was on the 22nd, and then July 29th was when it was dissolved. But then you have like another 5 months that go by, and then in the intervening those 5 months, I mean, she was locked up for a month. She was with Mike for a lot of that time. There's just a lot of stuff that happened between those events. And again, it makes perfect sense that he'd be a suspect. I'm not denying that. But you also have Mike in there, which really throws a wrench in that. Because he was the one that got broken up with right before she went missing. Which to me kind of counteracts a lot of the protective order stuff, just because of the timing of it.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there are bad facts, and like I said, it definitely justifies looking at him as a witness, but that's about as far as it gets for me. Yeah. They needed more.
Right. So what did you make of their theory of the third party corporate? I mean, I don't know how it's normally done, but I do know that if you're pleading self-defense, I think you have to prove it, but usually defense don't have to prove anything. So when it comes to the third party corporate, maybe I might need, maybe this is my ignorance here, but does the defense have to prove their theory? And if they don't have to prove that, were they walking a fine line where the jury might think, yeah, they have to prove this since they're presenting a third party corporate theory?
I think if they'd gone like all in on saying, I don't think they were saying it's definitely a third party. I think they were saying there are so many questions, and using the third party as an example of, hey, it could be this guy, it could be this guy. I really thought they were going to lean into it could be a random person, because that's the thing that happens. There were just so many other people it could have been. I mean, it could have been the family. It could have been somebody who hated the family. It could have been. I mean, she was in that jail. Or was she in jail? I think she was in the Rice Street jail. She could have had her own little conflict with somebody going on. She had her own entire life.
I think that might have sealed it for them as well. Like that little jail stint that she had, and also running away, like from home and being a runaway. I think that may have helped the defense a little bit. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, I think like if like a pure third party thing, we were saying it wasn't her, it wasn't. I almost said Nick because I'm reading Ruth's question or Ruth's comment. Chris. If they said it wasn't Chris, it was Mike, and that was their whole thing, then that would have been really risky.
Right.
But if it's just raising questions, I know there's this book, I haven't read it yet. It's called like the rule out method. It's been kind of the hip, to the extent there is such a thing as a hip criminal defense lawyer book. That's the one. It's just it's about emphasizing that the prosecution didn't rule out every alternative. And I think that there's just so much that the state didn't rule out, aside from their own theory.
Yeah, like I'm not going to like I'm never going to let the state go. I mean, especially with what you just said in regards to it could have been the boyfriend, it could have been other people at the jail, and then on top of that, you have the prosecution on closing argument saying that the bag that the head was found in was lying there for like a month or something, for quite a long time, so other people could have picked it up and touched it without knowing the head was.
That's messed up, but that's true, but also that's like messed up.
But why would you argue that when the defense is literally saying our client did not do this because other people could have done it? So you're basically telling them, hey, he's being framed here, but we think he did it. He's being framed.
Yeah, I almost think like the framing thing, like again, this is another timeline thing. The framing almost makes more sense, right?
Yeah.
To say like the this is so morbid, but say that she was um left at Action Glass in like late February. It makes way more sense for Mike to leave it there than for Chris to leave it there. Because no, Chris was right. He said that in the interview. He's like, "Who hides a body at their job? That's insane. Who would do something like that?" And I'm like, you know what? You're right. He's innocent. But if you don't know that Chris had been fired and you leave it there because you're trying to frame him, it makes perfect sense. And the timeline makes more sense for Mike than for Chris all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Um, weren't there more than one person for me? I think that was the case, right?
I believe. I think. Yeah. I think they found the arm and the leg in another body, and they were also looking. It was quite confusing because the anthropologist actually testified to the guy that was identifying the skull. He actually said that he was looking at another case in a similar vicinity, and he could have confused the skulls. I found his testimony confusing, but also very bad for the prosecution. So, yeah, there could have been more than one person remains in the bags. This case was a mess. But this case was a mess. But I want to ask, like, in a messy case like this, were you surprised that the defense put on a case in chief? Like, what did you make of it?
I don't think they had to. I don't know how much of a difference it made.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was surprised, to be honest. I was. I think it had already been won by that point.
Yeah, like I was really surprised that they put on Kathy Wolfenbarger on the stand. She didn't really remember much or even offered much in regards to them, except that she did take custody in 1996. I think that was just the bulk of her testimony from what I remember. But at the same time, they were opening themselves up to get questions asked in regards to the relationship with Chris and Melissa, because she was living with them. They were opening themselves up, but then the prosecution didn't even ask.
I think the prosecution had a chance to like ask some effective questions, but then they just spent 45 minutes asking about like the history of each individual building and who lived in the building in 1974 and like, what are you doing?
I tuned out.
They always do this. Absolutely. They do this every time. That's the thing. That's a trademark Fulton County issue. Is asking way too many relevant like background questions at the start. Yeah, it did backfire clearly.
So O'Bailey 71 says, I have a theory. Norma testified Carl was mad. He had to unalive his friend and relatives who essayed Melissa. Carl and Melissa had a falling out, and Carl, still mad, unalive Melissa. Do you think that works? I personally don't think Carl did this. I actually think it was not Nick. I actually think it was Eric. I think it's more likely to be him that he not only molested her, but Carl killed his family. When he found out is where the story blurs, and this is why I believe the defense didn't really have to put on a defense, because it came out when they were cross-examining Melissa's friend, the one that said that she's high in court right now. Like, she's not high in court, but she was high when she was speaking to the defense. But essentially, they were it came out with her that they found out about Carl being arrested that they all knew around 2003. So it kind of does put a hindrance on my Eric theory. But do you think that it's more likely that Eric had done this? Like, who do you think would have probably done this?
I don't even know. I really do kind of like the Mike theory. Again, aside from Chris, I don't really think Chris did it just because of the timeline.
Yeah.
I also think there's a chance that nobody did it and it was just like a drug OD thing. and that somebody panicked and wanted to get rid of the body. Because Mike has had like a lifelong drug problem, and her best friend had a lifelong drug problem. And
Oh,
I mean, if she was just getting into drugs, she ODs, somebody panics. I mean, it's incredibly mundane, but sometimes that's the way these things actually are. Well, I shouldn't say incredibly mundane, but relatively mundane.
just
Yeah, I just don't know. I can't. Every time I convince myself of one, this is really like what the case comes down to in a nutshell. Is like every time I convince myself of one, I change my mind to another one. Which is really like the fact that we're having this conversation really underscores how ridiculous the prosecution was.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because if this was just a literal OD, like, I mean, there was no way for them to know conclusively, because I don't think they had the torso to do a toxicology, kind of testing. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the case, they were handicapped, but I gotta ask the question, just how we're talking about Fulton County and how it works. You look at the facts of this case, and then I remember you saying on Kat's channel when you were speaking with her, I'm not sure if you mentioned it when you're speaking or when you were in the chat, but you definitely said that why didn't they bring this case back in 2004 and 2005?
Yeah.
And I want to ask, like, why wouldn't they? Like, do you think that this is something that they looked at and thought there is really no evidence here to work with, so we're not going to bother bringing it? Or do you think it's just that the DA at the time just felt this is stupid to greenlit? It's never going to go further.
Yeah.
So we heard on testimony from Norma Patton that they didn't even get the DA to prosecute the molestation charges. So what do you think is likely going on there?
Yeah, I think the DA just looked at it and said, "We can't. This isn't a prosecute. This isn't a viable prosecution. There's no prosecution here." And that's the same thing in the Whitesell case. The DA specifically chose not to go. The prior DA specifically chose not to go forward with the prosecution. For some of them are more recent, but like 85% of the case, the prior DA Paul Howard said he found the witnesses not credible, and he didn't want to go forward to prosecution because he didn't think it was a viable prosecution. And I think that's the same case here. I mean, I think, not to blame the family, but when you have a serial killer in the family who's killed family members and you have an unclear timeline, you're just not going to get a conviction. I mean, and that's not Melissa's fault, but it's just the reality of the situation. And I think this DA just wanted the headline.
Yeah,
I kept waiting for the new evidence to see, what changed, but I really just think it has always been just a non-viable prosecution. I mean,
I literally read online on one of the articles that they found DNA evidence, and that's what basically brought this case forward. I read that, and then I was like, it got to trial, and we found out that the DNA evidence that they even had excluded Chris, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I thought they were gonna. They had a dirty trick up their sleeve. That this would have been like a hallmark, like, oh, we just got these DNA results in the middle of the trial from 25 years ago. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, but then it just never did. They didn't even have a dirty trick, which is like, wow, they're really slacking.
What trick? Sorry.
Just like we just discovered this DNA. We just got these DNA results back that we didn't know about.
Oh,
or something like this, or
what's the term that you said? A derby trick or?
Oh, dirty trick.
Oh, dirty. Oh, okay, cool. I thought it was actually a well-known trick that that happened in a case, and then it was named after that case. Like, I thought that was.
They're big on like the last-minute discovery. And,
yeah. Like, I mean, if they're sending photos to the defense, I thought those photos would have been their like. I personally thought those photos were likely Christopher and Melissa fighting one day, and someone just took photographs of it to blackmail Christopher because, I mean, it's a theory, like,
Yeah.
it's a theory of mine.
Yeah.
Like because Christopher was pawning off tickets or something like that to when I read the document. So I thought
Yeah.
that's where it came
That,
from, but nothing, absolutely
yeah,
nothing.
that reminds me of like taking the pictures down. That was the dumbest one. Like, she was dating somebody else. Like, that's what you do. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's just
Oh yeah.
normal behavior. You don't like leave the pictures up of your ex-girlfriend. Like, that's
I mean,
she was dating
I'm
Mike, and like I don't know what I'm supposed to take from this.
oh my god, you're right. I cannot actually believe that they made that argument. And like, because we know that if you even if you even like a post, I know they didn't have social media back then, but just putting it in today's context, you like someone's post, they're breaking up with you. So
Yeah.
why would a picture but
Yeah.
something that I never thought would come up, and they didn't have this in evidence. So I was quite surprised to actually hear this on closing argument. And that was when the state said that Christopher had divorced her formally in 2002. And I was like, wait, you're bringing this in now? When did that go in evidence? And I thought the judge would have interjected there. I thought the defense may have objected. They
Yeah,
just
I
let
thought
it
maybe I
go.
missed it, but I didn't remember hearing that. And again,
Yes.
that's another thing. Like, I don't really know whether that makes him look more guilty, right? Like, if you haven't
That
seen him in
makes
a
him
couple of
look.
years,
That actually makes him look. In my opinion, I actually thought it made him look innocent because
yeah,
no man that actually kills the person would go for a divorce because they would naturally think she's dead.
yeah, they'll just bring
So
more attention to it, right?
right,
At
common
the very
law.
least.
Yeah, yeah. It's like plus, like no one is that stupid. Like to just think.
I think
Then
that's it for me. Is nobody's that stupid? Is like who hides a body at their job? I think that's really the thing that like I can't get past. And he clearly gets that. He's not like I'm not saying he's a Boy Scout or anything, but
oh hell no,
he's not gonna hide a body at his job.
he's
Like
right there. Yeah, yeah. He
and
is actually right to bring that up, but like they try
his
to. Yeah.
there's a whole thing like he was watching the movie or whatever, and he said he knew how to hide a body by putting it under concrete, and he didn't do that. That's not what he did. And then there was the thing. This one irritated me. Was he had said that he had a place to run away to if he needed to, and then they spun that into he hid behind his wine rack or something. That's not a place to run away to. That's just a place to hide. Like they kept trying to spin these things that were incriminating into things that like he didn't actually do.
Mm.
God, I hate when they do that. Oh, and I need to add that police unit, the police unit that does these searches in Atlanta, they're called the Apex unit. They're the most corrupt
Oh,
unit
I
of
never
police
knew that.
officers conceivable. We could do like a whole stream on this, but the fact that like hiding from them is like objectively correct. You should absolutely hide from them. They're the biggest scumbags like imaginable. They're the worst ones.
I was
They will fabricate
actually
evidence. They'll do anything.
even fabricate evidence.
Yes, because they did repeatedly, and not even like well. It's not even like a good fabrication. Yeah, they're the worst.
Oh wow, I never knew. Wait, what evidence did they fabricate? What in this case?
No, I mean they would not in this case,
Oh, they
but
would. They would. Oh,
they're the
okay.
unit that they do like all the warrants, all the search warrants, or any kind of like gun recovery stuff. I recognize their uniforms from the video of the arrest. They're dirty. They're the dirtiest cops that there are in Atlanta. And
Oh,
so hiding from them is it makes a lot of sense. I would hide from them too.
I was actually. I mean, I've never heard police say it, but I was actually quite surprised and shocked to hear them swear on the camera, like saying "come the f out." Like
Yeah.
I never thought that was normal. But yeah,
Yeah, no, that was Yeah, it's like
Chris, come.
if you know he has a gun and like there was just a shootout and you're like hot on his heels or something like that, but it wasn't even that kind of situation. It was like I mean, again, this came out during the trial, but they'd been to his house before for like a 2 hour long interview, so it's not like he was hiding from them. And then you like bust into his house, and yeah, it was completely uncalled for.
Mm.
Like, you could have just called him and asked him to come over, and he probably would have said yes. But yeah, I mean that's the other thing is like he was more cooperative in this investigation than anybody was for decades. Like from the polygraph in 2001, I think he gave DNA in the early 2000s and gave DNA
Right.
again in the 2020s. Sat for multiple interviews, even before she was identified. She sat for interviews.
You would think at that point, let me not because they might trace me. So that's, I mean, we always hear do not talk to the police, do not talk to the cops, all those things. And I personally felt, I said this on the catch ups, I personally felt that him doing the interviews and giving him that much information to work with, I thought that might have been the undoing of him, but even that didn't work. Even that didn't work.
That's the thing is like if you're innocent and you talk to the cops, you don't know what you're not supposed to say, right?
Right.
Like if you're guilty and you talk to the cops, at least you know like what's incriminating and what's not incriminating. But if you're
Right.
innocent, you have no idea what they're trying to get you to say.
Right.
So you can say like something that's completely innocuous as
Yeah.
far as you know, but like
Jim McIntyre is the best example of this.
I didn't follow that one that closely, but
Oh, okay, fair enough.
but yeah, I mean they've gotten people to like convicted just because they'll be like, what kind of truck do you drive? And you happen to drive like that kind of truck. And like, oh well, you were in this area and you had this truck, and we know the killer had this kind of truck and they're in this area. So you've like, oh, therefore you've admitted the crime essentially.
Right.
So it's not like you have to say I did the thing um, to incriminate yourself. You can just say something completely innocuous.
Yeah, the prosecution did try and help Mary in the closing arguments by saying that he never blamed the patterns until much later in when he was caught, and then he started blaming them. And I thought, well, of course he wouldn't blame the patterns because he didn't find out that they were killing people until like.
Yeah. And also, like, why would you just like why would you blame them? Period. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? Also, do you have to? Like, they're serial killers. Like, you don't have to just say it. It's kind of implied.
Yeah.
That case was such a mess.
Yeah, like,
I would love to know. I would love to know who has a Netflix deal. I would pay so much money to find out who has a Netflix deal.
They are definitely the family is definitely gonna make a buck from the press tours that they're doing, and and this is where I like, if anything, I doubt any changes is gonna come from it, and that's really sad because like I watched the case and I was thinking this is probably the best case to put on in training for investigators. Do not do this if you're going out for a domestic violence call. Write down the date and the time and the location and and make it very like, because I still cannot believe that they put on a witness that just didn't have the time right. He didn't even have the time of the incident right. The prosecution, as much as I've made, like, I don't know if I'm being nitpicky, if I was being nitpicky, but they didn't even lay the timeline from the beginning. They never asked questions in regards to, hey, what time did this happen? What date? Can you just probe at least to give an idea to the jury that there is a time frame that they can work with? And to me, it just felt like they didn't give the jury anything to work with, in my opinion. But
totally. I think that's what it comes down to. Like for me, that was always the biggest thing was the timeline. because you have these. Like I said, that was I think the first thing I said was the saw, the timeline of the saw, and okay, so like when was he fired? Was she dumped there before or after? Because to me, that's another big thing. Like
He
if it
got
was
fired
after,
in. Yeah. So sorry, go on. I'll
okay,
I'll come afterwards.
like if she was dumped there after he was fired, I'm thinking that's definitely somebody else. And if it was before, like I guess then there's an issue with the saw, but at least he was like there. And did he move away? When did he move away relative to when she was dumped? Because like was it close proximity or not? And also, she was last seen in DeKalb County with. She wasn't even last seen in Fulton County. So how are you getting from the Doraville Waffle? I can't believe I'm saying Waffle House again. The Doraville Waffle House to back to Fulton County, and then from Fulton County to the job, and then I just don't know what are they asking me to believe. I don't even know what they're asking me to believe, which is wild given that the
Yeah.
trial is now over, and I still don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, like it's just it's wild. It's wild how they are even saying that we don't even know what, like, that Melissa was probably killed from December onto March because she didn't turn up for the hearing. So she was probably dead in December to April, and that's when, after he had killed her, held on to body for this long, he then decided to dump it in April at his workplace.
I mean, it's like if this whole thing is like, the whole thing was like, you need to dump the body. That's how you get away with it. But I also held on to it for 2 months, just to make it interesting. Like, I was looking through the Atlanta PD, like the cold cases. There are unidentified bones that were discovered in 1999 and 1997.
Okay.
Well, okay, the 97 they were identified, but like basically there's like they still have Melissa Wolfenbarger, and then there's on either side of her are unsolved cold cases with remains being found, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's already difficult having a case that has gone cold and even trying to prosecute that, but at the same time, there is no way, like, just by the set of facts alone, he, in my opinion, he was factually innocent, and I didn't know what to make of the DV part, because he could have been guilty of DV. Like, there could have been DV going on in the relationship, but
for sure.
I don't know how that automatically turns into a murder. Like, I mean, it can happen. Like, I'm trying to put I'm trying to make sense of what the prosecution were doing, and I can understand their line of thinking, but this.
I mean, it definitely does. Like, it's pretty common for it to escalate, but they didn't. It seemed like they showed more of a breakup than an escalation to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it makes sense for that to be your first theory, like totally.
Right.
But they didn't. Again, like what did they discover since 2003, 2004?
No new information, no nothing. Yeah. Like, there was supposedly this tip. I think you said.
I'm convinced they lied about that tip. I'm completely convinced they lied about that.
Oh my gosh! Like, there was a tip. I didn't even hear about this, about someone seeing a fight between Christopher and Melissa, and
there was
that was supposed to be a tip, but I can't. Yeah, sorry, go on.
There was this thing turned over in discovery. Supposedly it was April 29th, I don't know what year, 2023, I think, or 24. No, 24. Somebody like called in an anonymous tip saying that somebody saw Chris saying, "Don't you know what happened to my first wife at a party sometime in the 2010s?" And but the thing is like at the same time, what's her face? Cheryl is saying that she turned over an interview, but like to the same date and on the same subject matter. But the police in discovery said that it was a phone interview that they conducted. And you can only hear the first like minute and a half, and then there's 20 minutes of silence. So you don't know what the last 20 minutes are. And also the police said that it was an anonymous interview, but they also give the name of the person in the report. And the name is like Carly Maxwell instead of. And then the defense actually said, hey, you put the person's name in there, you can take it out because it's supposed to be anonymous. And they just never did. And the whole thing seems like it's a fabrication to me, but I'm sure we'll never know. We'll never know.
He is acquitted now, so it likely doesn't matter. But the Kim P asked this question saying, do you think the judge was too lenient with the prosecution on the rebuttal at closing? It seemed to go on forever. What did you make of the judge, by the way?
I liked her. I thought she was good. There's some confusion about this. Georgia has a funny Brady statute where, so for instance, with the reports, people were saying that should have been a mistrial with prejudice. But in Georgia, it's called an equal access or equal opportunity rule or something like that. You can't get Brady unless you try to get the information yourself. So you have to interview all the witnesses. If not all the witnesses, I mean, he was the lead investigator. You have to interview the lead investigator. And if you could have gotten the information yourself, then you're not going to get a Brady violation. So some people were upset about that at the outset, upset with the judge at the outset about that. But that was why. She was right about that. Lenient with the prosecution.
Do you think so?
Not really. It was just bad. I do think judges know how a case is going. And if,
I actually saw her expression when I forgot her name. Hilton Simone, I think her name is. But anyway, when she was making the argument about touching the bags, her face actually scrunched up like. But she regained composure. But her face did make she did make a face like wondering, okay, like maybe
I think she thought they were doing a really bad job, and that it was a terrible case, and she knew what the outcome was going to be, and like the state's allowed to do a really bad job. There's no rule against that. You know what I mean?
But
I think she could have. I think a directed verdict on the murder charge was. I think it was closer call than maybe she thought it was. But I mean, directed verdict is such a high or low bar depending on which way you look at it.
Yeah, I think it's low for prosecution. Like, really, I have always wondered if there has been any case in which a directed verdict has actually been given for the defense when they argue it. Like, have you seen that happen?
I've seen it in Fulton County.
Well, not
they're like 5. I think they're like 4 or 5 in the YSL case. There's one. Let me see. I have it. There was one defendant. This is actually a crazy story. I meant to tell the story. So he. I actually have his verdict here. Let me see. He had. This is Diamante Kendrick, aka Yak Gotti. He had 1, 2, 3, 4.5. He got acquitted on everything. But he had like 3.5 or 4 directed verdicts.
Okay.
But the crazy thing is he was actually stabbed the night before he was acquitted. He was there was a Sunday night that he was stabbed in Rice Street, and then he was acquitted on all of his counts on Monday. So less like 12 hours after he was stabbed, he was acquitted on everything. And it wasn't actually read out until Tuesday, but he was that close to being killed before he was fully exonerated. But yeah, there were, I think 3 complete directed verdicts and 1 partial, because there's just literally no evidence presented on those charges. They were all various types of possession charges, and they never actually entered any evidence that he possessed or even knew about the substances. Or one was a gun, I think. But he wasn't even he didn't even live there. He had just been in the house that one day when there was a raid in the house. And it wasn't like he was in the rooms where the guns were. He was just in the house. And yeah, they got directed verdicts on all those counts.
Well, there you go, folks.
Yeah. There's one gun that was under a couch, and he wasn't even in the room. It was under the couch, but supposedly he knew about it and possessed it. It was just insane. I think Hilton argued that one too, actually. But that was Doug. That was Nick Cusodis's lawyer, Doug Weinstein, who
yeah. So
that was his first criminal. That was his first criminal trial, by the way. It was the YSL trial.
Really? Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, I did see in his bio that he was a civil litigator beforehand.
Yes.
Well,
his first jury trial. His first jury trial and his first criminal trial was the YSL trial, the longest trial in the history of the state of Georgia.
Damn. Yeah, 150 days or something like that. I actually wish I covered that. I was in the hospital. I was in and out of hospital, so I couldn't. If I wanted to, I couldn't. I couldn't follow it. But but this. Well, there you go. The first time that I've seen a directed verdict. First time of even hearing how many directed verdicts are actually happening in the state of Georgia. But I personally thought that she should have given a directed verdict on the Malice murder as well, but I guess
I think it was so fuzzy. There was so much stuff that it's almost if there had been more evidence, it would have been easier to give a directed verdict in a way. But they had all these insinuations and innuendos, and it was just messy. I can kind of get it. I probably would have granted it I can see it. Actually, there was actually one YSL defendant who was stabbed twice before the trial even started in jail in two separate incidents. That's the kind of place that Christopher Wolfenbarger spent the last year in.
Okay, so I do want to ask a question, because I did read the documents that you made available, and it was mentioning this was the first time I've seen the use of the rule 807, which is accepting hearsay evidence even if it's inadmissible, and I saw that there was a couple of hearsay evidence that was supposed to come in regards to hearing statements of the Waffle House incident and how there was no injuries to Melissa or anything like that. The person had died, and that didn't come in, so we didn't get to hear anything about it. So how is that normally handled in a case like this, or just in cases in general? If someone is deceased, how do they bring in the statements, and are they often brought in?
Yeah, I mean, it's a relatively rare circumstance, but that's one of the, I can't remember the exact rule, but if somebody's unavailable, and of course if they're dead they're unavailable, there's a specific exception for unavailable speaker. And I think I remember the motion you're talking about. I can't remember the rules that you have to, or the standards you have to satisfy, but there's a whole set of rules or exceptions for situations in which the speaker is unavailable. There's one called dying declarations. That doesn't apply here, but your last words are I can't remember if it's an exception. I think it's an exception to hearsay. So those can come in by the person who heard them. Let me see. Then there's, I think it's the person's no longer there. That's the issue. There are a bunch of witnesses that are no longer alive that probably would have been called. I think they're 4 or 5. Carl certainly would have been called. But yeah, I think there has to be some indicia of trustworthiness in the statement, and the declarant, the speaker, has to no longer be available. And usually it would have been the person who heard them speak that would have repeated what they said. Or if you have a recording, that's actually pretty common too, where if you have like a deposition transcript or a recording, you can admit that as evidence instead of having somebody else repeat it.
Okay. So yeah. So okay.
It's been a while since I've studied that.
Yeah.
I'm relearning all this stuff myself.
Yeah. I've always wondered how the courts would handle people that that are just deceased and just unable to get into court. And I was kind of, so do you think that she made the wrong decision there by not allowing those statements to come in? I mean, they were in direct controversy, and Tina May did make the assertion, of the violence happening. Do you think that he should have come in to kind of rebut that?
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember exactly what she said. I don't know I think I'm going to miss that part, but I'm guessing she probably thought there was enough in already as to those points that she didn't need to get into the hearsay, the non-available witnesses.
Okay.
I can't. I'm blanking on that part.
No, I understood. But yeah,
it wasn't even that long of a trial, but I can't even remember all of it.
I don't blame you. Like the minute that he got the not guilty verdict, I was quite shocked that he came back that quickly. To be honest, I thought we would hear about it on Monday, but the jury didn't even want to go into their weekend thinking about it. It was like, nope, nope, not guilty. Like, like,
have you seen any interviews? I haven't seen any yet. Any
nothing has popped up from either Court TV or Law and Crime in regards to the jurors, so I don't think they're gonna speak about it. Like, I'll be surprised if they do. To be honest, I will be surprised because of the nature of the case. They might just wanna, not so many criminals were testifying for crying out loud. I wouldn't want to give an interview if I was a jury, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's fair. I haven't seen the lawyers either. I haven't checked that one yet either.
Yeah,
I'm sure they probably will. I assume at some point.
Yeah, like, so that is something that I actually thought we would not see any more felons, and then Wendy came in and testified, and she was literally in chains.
Yeah, I mean,
believe it.
I guess like getting the verdict in an hour kind of tells us everything that we need to know about what they thought about the case. What was the final time? It was 2 hours maybe, or an hour.
I personally thought it was an hour because they didn't even. I think it was only like 15 minutes they were allowed to go in there. The stream had shut. And then an hour later, I saw Broken Baker go online and say verdict, and that was it. That was literally it. I was like, wait a minute, what? But the stream had shut. I thought we were done for the day. I actually thought we were done for the day.
I had so much fun watching him have like a mental breakdown every day. It was so much fun.
I love it. Me and him were like in the same world because we just never seen anything like this. We never seen a case like I mean, there is Karen Reed, but this is a whole different level. Like this was, I haven't seen prosecution actually send materials actively as the case was going on. I mean, the last case that I remember this happening and they called it up was the Baldwin case, and that was a mistrial. So I was quite surprised how that happened because they found materials given to the defense, and then that's how the mistrial happened. So I was quite surprised that didn't lead to a mistrial here. They really got away with that one there.
Yeah, this was a bad case. And it wasn't even like they didn't even have a dirty trick up their sleeves. You know what I mean? Like that at least would have been something. But like, what were they thinking? What did they think was going to happen?
Absolutely. I absolutely. Not even. I mean, they were not gonna. I actually thought when they were talking about Thomas having a cell phone back in 2001, I thought they were gonna bring up messages in regards to Thomas, and that didn't even happen. Like apparently, it was something to do with prepaid
Yeah,
It's frustrating. But anyway,
yeah,
I'm so glad that I'm so glad that you came in and spoke
yeah,
with me about this case. We definitely have to do another one. What cases
yeah.
are you covering next? Like, are you like, do you have an eye on a case that you that you
Yeah.
have an interest in?
I have some that I'm working on right now. Actually, like my actual cases. There's from the YSL case. There's a defendant named Antonio Sledge, and I mean, I'd have to give you like an hour of backstory on that one. But we'll be filing an appeal this week, or either most likely this week, or like very beginning of next week. In his case, and that was a. I could go for like an hour on this one, but basically he allegedly violated conditions of probation that like weren't ever imposed, so like non-existent conditions of probation, and yeah, I'd have to go for a long time on this one, but we'll be filing an appeal in that case.
I would love to hear about it.
We already won. We already got 10 years of his sentence vacated because he was convicted of a crime that doesn't exist. So it's the
Oh
second
wow!
layer. He was, yeah. So there's an indictment and a reindictment, and they like secretly changed his crime during the reindictment, and he tried to plead guilty, but then they sentenced him to something that was like above the maximum amount. And yeah, it's it's just layers and layers of nonsense. So we'll be doing that this week. And
Oh
then there
wow!
might be some other stuff in the YSL case, another part of the YSL case I'm working on that can
Is that
also come up this week.
is
I
that
can't talk about
monk?
that one yet.
Is that monk talk? Well, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, it is. It is.
I don't know these players. I don't honestly.
Yeah, it
like
is.
like I just saw
That's
Fremont talk, so so
yeah, yeah. That's him. That's him.
I have no
Then
idea
there's
what's going on.
there's another part of the YSL case I'm working on. That's a different defendant. Can't really talk about that one. That could be this week too, or maybe
Are
next
you
week.
watching any cases that's going on law and crime or court
Let
TV
me
or?
let me look at my list.
I,
Um, I don't know if there are any that are like on right now. Oh, there's the Stop Cop City Rico. That's okay. So this one's really stupid. Okay.
Stop
So
cop
this is
city
actually,
Rico. Okay.
yeah, this one's actually brought by this Georgia Attorney General. It's in Fulton County, but it's not the Fulton DA. It's actually like the state Attorney General. And they charge like 60 something people with RICO. And the judge made them break it into, I think, 13 trials of 5 defendants each.
Oh
And
wow.
the first one fell apart already.
Why are there so many Rico cases in Georgia?
It's because it's easy. You can so there's a hearsay. It's an evidentiary thing. So you can use hearsay if it's against one of the defendants, basically.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you have like 60 defendants, then something that any of them say can be used, and it's not hearsay, basically. So you can basically get around the hearsay rule entirely. And this was a big thing in YSL. That was why it was brought as a RICO, because they don't have to worry about hearsay. They can. It just makes prosecuting a case a lot easier. But the thing is you charge all these people and you just end up with a mess because half these people don't know each other, and you're trying to prove a conspiracy between people who don't know each other. And in this case, basically there was a facility. It was like a police training facility that was being built in the forest, and they were going to cut down the forests, and there were people protesting that, and they tried to turn it into this elaborate RICO case. But you ended up with some of the charges being like somebody Venmoed somebody else like $11, and that was a RICO predicate.
What?
And it was like money laundering because they were like Venmoing each other money so they could buy like food
You cannot be
for the
serious.
protest. $68.81, $12.52,
For a Venmo.
$27. Yeah, yeah. Oh, this one's $250, $52. So I've been keeping track of that. There are quite a few of the well-known Georgia lawyers there's 60 people, so there's quite a few well-known Georgia lawyers with clients in this case. Max Shard from YSL, I mean, like half the YSL lawyers are on this one. But it's just a complete mess. They forgot to put the grand jurors on the grand jury indictment, which is a pretty important part of the grand jury indictment. It's just a complete disaster. As far as current cases, not really. I'm probably forgetting one.
Are you going to look at the Adelson case? That's a case that kind of caught my eye. It's in Florida. Like, I don't know the
Yeah,
backstory about all of that, but I hear that it's really taking a life of its
yeah,
own. Some murder that happened back in 2014. So
yeah.
I'm
I know the name. I don't know. I usually like the cases where I can like find something new. That one feels like it's been like everyone's already on that one. You know what I mean? Oh,
I'm
there's
with
the
you.
YNW Melly case. I've been following that. I'm really interested in that case. It seems like we'll have a bit of a break. I'm interested to see if he gets a new lawyer, a new legal team, because he desperately needs one. But yeah, I mean, it's 2027. It's another year and what, 17 months until he's going to have a trial,
Okay.
which is
Oh,
insane. Let me see. What else do we have? CashApp Clark. Oh, there was the case that this would be like an appeal thing, but there was the case that Adrian Love brought. This was a cold case. It was from, I think, 2000. There's a murder in 2002. And she said that there was this gun that tied the defendants to the crime scene. And she got a report like matching it to the crime scene, but then she destroyed it before the defense could test it to like confirm. And then, I tweeted about this recently. And then she got the ballistics report entered into evidence at trial and said it was the smoking gun, even though it wasn't. And they all got life sentences. So I might do something covering that case, even though it's been done for a decade at this point.
fair
But
enough.
that was really interesting. That was actually the first case that I ever opened, like the first time I did research in Georgia. Like I wasn't even looking for the case; I just found it by complete happenstance. So, want to finish that one up. But that's a crazy case. It's insane.
Yeah, like I don't think you sleep. I think I asked you that question before. Like, do you actually ever sleep? So
Yeah, sometimes I get excited and then I just go for a while.
yeah, but yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me
Yeah, of course.
to kind of unpack this case and answer my questions. Sorry if they were dull and mundane. I
No,
I
but it's hard.
haven't.
Like, there's nothing to talk about, right? You know what
I
I mean?
was
Like, I
yeah.
don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say.
I was I
I was
was
just like,
really I felt dumb watching the case because I was like, what am I supposed to look at? Like, I really felt dumb. I was like, oh, like this. Oh, it just.
I
Oh,
was like I said, I was hoping there'd be a dirty trick at the end, so there'd at least be like a point. But there wasn't even that. It was just nothing. There was no case. I don't know. I still don't know what I don't. Okay.
frustrating yourself.
What do you? That's what I want them to do. I just tell me. Just like take 5 minutes to make a YouTube video. Just like tell me what your theory of the case was. Not you, like the
Just that.
prosecutors.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like,
Just
what
give
do
me
you
that.
think
Just give
happened?
me that.
What am
Just
I
the
supposed to
theory.
believe? What were you trying to convince everybody of? As specifically as possible. No yelling. Just lay it out. You can type it out if you want to.
Oh my gosh, I have never seen that. Was my first time seeing Hilton. I have never seen Hilton in action, and I could not believe that all she was doing was just raising her voice. And I was like, you could do this like for set. I mean, I didn't find for set inspiring. I found her really off-putting and
That's
boring.
what she did the same thing in YSL, and the jurors like did lots of interviews saying we found it like offensive that she was yelling at us like we're stupid.
Like,
And she was saying things in that case that were like directly contradicted by the medical examiner. Basically, there's like this guy, I'm not gonna get into this graphic, but he had like an injury, and the medical examiner said he couldn't possibly have done this thing. And Hilton was saying, "Oh, he definitely did it. Like, just use your common sense," but like really loudly. And the jurors, they did lots of interviews after, and they said, like, "You're insulting our intelligence. You're yelling at us. Like,
oh,
do you
that's
think we're
why people were
stupid?"
saying. That's
Yeah.
why people were saying in I remember someone saying that in my chat, saying that she hasn't learned anything from
Yeah.
her YSO days.
It was the exact same thing. It must have worked
I
in the
was
past.
confused.
It must have worked in the past, or she wouldn't keep doing it. But she got like very specific feedback on why it didn't work, and she did the exact same thing. It was off putting to me too. Because it
Yeah,
just
like
feels like you didn't do the work, and now you're just going to try to like get people's emotions stirred up and get them to do something. I mean, clearly they didn't, but
I'll be honest, like the defense closing argument was not inspiring either. I just thought
yeah,
it was clinical. I just thought it was clinical. It's like, okay, you know what you have to do, go up
yeah,
there and get it done. And it wasn't like an Alec Jackson kind of closing. Both of them were like on the same level. Well, him and Fawcett were on the same level of inspiration. But at the same time, I was like, he's still better than you. He's
yeah.
still like the
I'm
one
thinking
moment
about
that the one moment that I thought stole the show for me was when he used Fawcett's own argument, like in regards to the poisoning, all those things. You don't have poisoning, you don't have that, you don't have all of this. And Fawcett never used you shouldn't reward Chris for being a master criminal. You shouldn't reward that. And I thought that might made a difference. It wasn't going to make a difference, but
yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, how little could the defense have done and still won? Could they have like just not done anything? If they had just not asked any questions or made any argument, like could they still have won the case? And like probably not, but like you have to think about it.
could you imagine every witness coming up that they're like no cross, no cross, no cross, no cross, no cross, and they still lose.
I mean, I guess you have to bring out the husband stuff, but other than that, like I did think that they were at the start they were going too hard on like the cross, like the lady who clearly had a crush on Chris. What's her name? And they were like reading out her criminal history to like she didn't even say anything like incriminating. You can just like let her go.
Yeah, like I didn't
like that.
What was that? Maybe we're talking of the same person, but I did find he was a bit forceful. I can't remember I can't remember the witness now, but I actually felt bad for the witness that he was. I think. Never mind. Strike all of that. I can't remember the witness, but it wasn't Joe McDermott. It was the other guy. I just forgot his name, but anyway, I can't remember the witness, so don't worry about it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. We will definitely be back because I am looking at that TikToker case that's happening in Carroll County in Georgia. I'm not sure if you heard of it. I forgot her name. TikToker case. I forgot her name.
Somebody asked me about this.
Brian. She's accused of killing her parents, basically, and
that took a turn.
Yeah, she made a.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking for like she only had a hearing, so I don't know when the trial is. So I'm looking forward to that. But the one case I am really salivating my mouth about is the Courtney Clenny case. I want to see how the defense actually put on a defense against the stabbing. So that's one case that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I need to catch up on Donna Allison. But yeah,
cool.
Yeah, we will definitely keep talking. If guys, go check out his channel. The link is in the description. Support his work. You do mainly pro bono, right? You do. That's what you're doing. That you mainly do, right?
Oh, is that the channel?
Sorry,
no. I was checking chat, see if I missed any questions. Sorry.
No. You're fine. But you mainly do pro bono work, right? Like yes. Support his work. I have left all the details of Jim Robichaud in the description. He does a brilliant work bringing forth documents in cases like this so that you guys can see what really goes on behind the scenes. Yeah, so I'm really happy that we spoke today for the first time. Looking forward to having you back on
sure.
here.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Yeah. We'll just close out on that. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great evening. I will let you guys know if we're gonna go live. If we're gonna go live with the Donna Adelson recap. If we do, it would definitely, and by we I mean me. It's a business terminology. I'm so used to it. Anyway, if I do go live, it will be at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I always go live at that time. So hopefully, I'll see you guys there. So thanks again, Jim, for joining. Have a good evening. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another Catch Up Court live stream. Make sure that you smash that like button as well as hitting that subscribe button to be notified of our future live streams. We go live regularly, bringing you case updates and recaps of ongoing trials. So make sure you hurry back on the next live stream. We also have more content on the channel that you can binge on. Check out the playlist that we have showcasing all of these contents. Without further, I go by the name of Heinz, your friendly neighborhood ketchup man, and I'll see you back in court.